Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to be here today, and speaking on a lot of the themes that Lucy just went into from a retail perspective. 2020 has definitely been, it's been challenging. It's been a roller coaster. It feels like it's been 5 minutes and 5 years. So often, and I think the other thing too is, when we went into this pandemic, when we closed stores originally back in March, we all really naively thought it was going to be this 2-week thing. We were all going to go into lockdown and then we'd be back up and running. And it's even funny because ironic, and I often say, wait, is this the policy now? Was this the policy in May? Because things were so ever changing and continue to be ever changing. As Barbara said, I'm a regional facilities manager for Gap Inc. We have the pleasure of having 3 locations on 125th Street, the Banana Republic factory store, the Gap factory store, and Old Navy. We were so excited to be able to get open to customers, right when that wave 2 happened with New York City. I know our customers were super excited for us to be open. And from what I've seen as well is just with the theme is that traffic is down, but the interesting thing is that once the customer comes into the store, conversion is up. So they're coming in with a purpose to buy, they're buying more, and they're buying bigger transactions. So, people probably aren't going to as many places anymore, but they're going to where they feel safe, where they feel trusted, and where there is that sense of community. I think it's really nice to know that a majority of our associates, probably 90% of them, are actually New York City residents. A lot of them grew up in the surrounding areas, so they know the customer. You don't see that in some of the Manhattan stores where it's a lot of commuters, or it's commuters, it's tourists, which don't exist. So the drop in traffic has not been as significant as it has been in certain parts of Manhattan. One of the other things too, as a national retailer, it's kind of nice to not be first, is what I like to say, especially from a regional perspective. So because New York City was one of the later regions to open up, that we made the decision to open up, we were able to really get some key findings and learnings from other parts of the country that opened up sooner and maybe didn't take as many precautions as New York City had in place. We also made the decision that we weren't going to open stores until we felt 100% safe for our customers, for our associates to be in. So it was about, how do you design health cards for stores? How do you set up meter markers? What does an app look like? So that way you could determine how many people are in your store at a time. Do you have adequate PPE gear for your associates to provide? So that way they feel safe coming to work. What are all those parameters in place? It's also talking about, it's no longer just a brick and mortar store, a retail in a traditional sense. It's that omni capability. A lot of our stores are utilized as online fulfillment centers for what we call ship from store, where sometimes your online order might be fulfilled at the store down the street, just because that's who has your inventory. And after having inventory sit for 3 or 4 months, we had to figure out how to move, especially because the online business has grown substantially. Same thing with BOPUS, buy online, pick up in store, curbside pickup. How do you meet the customer where they feel comfortable and provide them? It's interesting. We said, hey, we're going to get into the mask game. We're going to get into the hand sanitizer game and provide customers with fashionable masks to wear, because this is now a necessity, and it's a fashion statement. If you said that to me at the beginning of the year, that would be one of our main products, nobody would have believed it, but it's been a huge point for us. And I think one of the other things too is we've created something called a convenience center, or a convenience spot, in a lot of our stores. So it's right front and center when you walk in. It's an area where you can pick up your online order, you can make an online return, you can pick up a curbside order. So it's meeting that customer and figuring out where you need to be. So, and I think, we continue to change our safety protocols. If we feel it's not safe, we'll shut down stores based on what that is, because it's so important for us to have the employee feel safe when they're coming to work, and for the customer to feel safe when they're coming to shop, but also make sure that they have that same specialty retail presence that they've come to expect from the Gap brand of stores. So, you know, and Barbara, I also want to mention, we got connected during the Floyd protests because we did make the decision to board up our stores as we had in a number of areas in New York City. I will say, for such a challenging time and such, you know, a time full of a lot of feelings and unrest and everything like that, you know, one positive thing that came out for me was the action of your committee and painting the boards and giving neighbors the space to express themselves from an artist perspective. You know, it was such a heartwarming moment, and I'm glad that we were able to get connected and be a part of that.